Hello, and welcome to part 3 of HTML for the Chromebook. We've been learning HTML on the Chrome system, which is not much different from other systems. There are a few things. One thing which today we're going to deal with makes it slightly different. We created a little individual page in the last two sessions, and then we created links to other pages. We did a little styling, um, changed font and color and things like that. Real simple stuff. Yeah, and the most recent thing we did was link to another page. Today we're going to link to another page without losing our original anchor page, and maybe we'll add some images, and we're going to learn how to link within our own directory so we can keep the user's attention in the page, in our environment. They call it a walled garden. You want to keep the user inside your system of pages. For example, if you're selling advertising or whatever, you want to increase the number of views. You want to keep them on your page, so we'll learn to link back and forth between your own pages, build a network of pages. We're just going to build two. We're just going to have a total of two today. Okay, so as you know, you've been linking across the internet forever. You can go to any page that's available, and that page opens in your browser. But once you get to another page, you have to use your browser's back button, because unless that page is one of yours that you've designed a back button. So you lose that customer if you send them to CNN. That's part of the hazard. The customer often comes back, but we can find a way to keep your page open while sending them to the other guy's page too. So this is the anatomy of a link. We made a link yesterday or last time. Let's call it an anchor tag. There are other anchor tags besides links, but anchor tags is the principal one. And it's href for hypertext reference, and then the URL of the page you're sending to, and then the text between the two anchor tags is the text of the link that you click on. Many times these days it's actually a picture or something. You can insert a picture inside that link, actually. Many modern web designers do that instead. And the thing is, with all of these, with a regular link, say you're doing a blog and you want to send someone to a story on the LA Times, the link will probably be reasonably long, but not too long, or CNN, or if you're, being paid to send them to the landing page of someone like, Nordstrom.com or something, the link's going to be pretty small, pretty short. But Chrome and other links, if you're linking to a very specific part of a large page, or if you're linking to something on your own machine, the links can get very long, especially in Chrome. And that's going to be a hazard. But first, let's go back. Let's deal with the fact that when you link to someone else's page, you send them elsewhere. The previous way we did it, it closed your page and opened the new page in the same window, in the same tab. But with this technique right here, adding the word target equals quote, underscore blank quote, that little bit of language there, that opens CNN in another tab, and then switches the focus to that tag, but um, it keeps your tab open on a tab to the left, so the person's more likely to jump back and look at your tab. You can also open things in, frames and stuff, but that's more advanced. And the thing is, if people go back to your page and follow another link, that'll open another tab. So you can propagate a whole bunch of tabs. It could be a little annoying after a while, but it's a good compromise solution to keep your page open. You want to keep the user focusing on your page, returning to it. Okay, so what we can do is link to a file instead of a page. What you do this when you're linking inside your own computer or your own set of computer directories on your own machine, instead of going out over the network via HTTP to another page. We're doing this right now because we're going to be constructing pages without having to store them on the web somewhere on another machine. We don't want to set up a web account just so you can learn to link a few pages together. So we're just locally, we're just going to save all the pages on a local machine. And when you do that, you use file : / instead of HTTP : /. You can see the two link structures next to each other and see how they look a little different. They're both anchor tags. They both create links. It's just like you're linking to the web, but you're linking to another file. And so we're over time in this today, we're going to only have a second page which we're going to link to. But eventually, we'll have a bunch of pages all linking between, and not technically going over the internet. We're technically just going into our own file system. This just because we don't have an internet page. We don't have an internet account. And Google makes it more and more difficult to get a free one with HTTP. So it acts exactly the same. Slight problem is that this is a very large link. We'll show you how to shorten the text of that link. Okay, so we're linking to internal pages instead of going to the web. We're going to create another page in the same directory. So open your file finder and find a page that you have created HTTP text on. Open the HTML page you've already created, and we're going to save it. Just save it under another name in the same directory. I had my original page saved as style1, so save this one as style2. And now you have an identical page in the same directory, but it has a different file name. And we're going to link from the first page to the second. We're going to construct a link which sends you from the first page to the second. We just opened a second page. This is the HTML, and we renamed it. And it'll look exactly the same. And again, like I said, we had the terrible problem with the gigantic links, gigantic link text. You can see that second href link. That's the file directory that's the file address of one page, one little tiny web page in our Chrome directory. We have home, we have it's file locator instead of an internet protocol locator, and it's home Kronos, and then that's a serial number of our Chrome machine, and that's 30 digits long, then it looks like a traditional DOS directory, myfiles / destination.html. That's a lot of link to handle. When I was learning HTML on a PC, I could make all the pages much simpler. C:/ junk / myfile.html. Very simple to type out and copy and keep in your mind. This is impossible. You have to cut and paste it perfectly. So we're going to learn about link shortening in a minute. Okay, you have a huge link size. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's the way it is. That's how Google designs it, because they expect everything to be on the web, and they expect it to be so automated that you don't notice the size. It allows them economies of scale, which is great for them, but difficult if you want to be aware of where you are in the directory system. So we create relative links. Relative links are, you can also use them for images, provided the page you're linking to, the page you want to go to, is on the same computer. All you really need to do is type out that section of the page which is different from the destination page. And that will be a sufficient text for you to link to. You'll preface it with a dot and a slash if it's in the same directory, and 2 dots and a slash if it's in a different directory. And you'll also have to include all the directory information that's different. So if you have so like we said, you could cut and paste the entire link text of the destination page into the link in the origin page to send the user via link to the second page. But that's a huge amount of text there to cut and paste. Something could go wrong. So you don't want to do that, although it's possible. You want to shorten that link by making the link only include the information that is different from the origin page. So you want to include a link in the origin page that looks like one of these two at the bottom. The first one at the bottom will link to another page in the same directory. The second one at the all the way bottom will link to another page in a different directory. 1 dot to link to the same directory, 2 dots, and the additional directory information for the link that goes into another directory. 1 dot for same directory, 2 dots for different directory. Again, 1 dot for the same directory, 2 dots for another directory. The reason on PowerPoint that the first link text is a hyperlink is because that actually exists. The second one is an example that I just made up. That folder, other directory, doesn't actually exist. I just made it up for illustration purposes. But as you can see, 1 dot plus the relevant information, 1 dot and a slash plus the relevant information if you're linking to a page in the same directory, 2 dots, slash, and the relevant directory information plus the file name if you're linking to a page in a different directory. So that's a lot to deal with. So I just want to summarize. This gets so complex, I want to make certain we keep a roadmap of where we've gone. So far, we've linked to an external page. We did that at the end of the last lesson. In this lesson, we linked to an external page with a new tab. That runs off the line, but sorry about that. But you remember target equals quote underscore blank close quote. That will open an external page in a new tab, preserving your original page, keeping it open. We can link to an internal file, which is useful as you're learning and you want to construct a bunch of pages, but you don't want to have an internet account. This is the bold 12-point type is the link to a page in the internal file. As you can see, Chrome has a ridiculously long address for every HTML file, so we can shorten it by merely adding file : destination.html, destination.html being a made-up name of an HTML file that we are linking to. And we could also add 2 dots if destination.html is in a different folder. So let's add an image. Images are not stored in the HTML file. The only thing stored in the HTML file is the information necessary to locate the image wherever else it is. That keeps the HTML file very small and makes it easy to transmit. It's assumed text is more important than images, and images can be imported slowly while text wants to load immediately. In the old days, you would have images loading slowly because bandwidth was very narrow. These days, images will often load very quickly. And in some web pages, advertisers pay to have images load first. But the idea is that since the HTML file is so small, it's only text, it transmits very quickly. The images, which live in different folders, travel separately and show up a little more slowly. So images can live anywhere. You just have to reference the file name, and you have to reference a directory if it's in a different directory from the page. So you use an image tag, img, and the name of the the address of the file is referenced in the src attribute. Image source equals, and then the name of the file in quotes. If it's in the same directory, little // is used. If it's in a separate directory, 2 dots and a slash are used. Even though it's displaying an image, you can include text between the tag sets, between the tags and the tag set, if you want a caption. That caption will usually appear to the right of the image. Looks a little hokey, but sometimes you will want to identify precisely what the image is. And so remember, you are merely including the reference to the file where the image lives. You're not including the file in your HTML folder. That makes your HTML file much smaller, and it moves more quickly. So here's an example again. I did include a ending tag on this image tag set. My mistake, but Mr. Snuffles is the name of the picture. It's a JPEG picture. Let's see what it looks like in the original text editor. single dot, and a slash, image source. And it does render even without a closing image tag. And this is what it looks like when you link through to it. When you reload the page with the image tag attached. If we had included text between the two tags of the tag set, that would appear at the right of the image of Mr. Snuffles. And the image of Mr. Snuffles, again, is a JPEG which lives in the same directory, but the image is not included in the HTML file. The HTML file is very small to produce this page. Just a little bit of text. It's less than a K. I said before it was only a couple hundred K. It's much less than a K. The image may be a meg or half a meg or whatever. But the larger the image, the larger it will appear on the larger it will appear on the page. We will figure out how to position them differently, move them to the center, move them to either side. We can turn an image into a link, which is when you go to a professional website, it will be a picture that says click on here to go to another link. It's very simple to turn a picture into a link, and then you'll have another similarity with a professional website. So we've done a lot today. In summary, we created links to other texts. We created links to other pages. We created links to other pages which open in another tag, keeping your original page open. We've created additional HTML files to link to internally on other pages in the same directory. The importance of maintaining different files to keep your viewers' attention instead of giving them links to other places, and then you want to keep them there. You want to keep them in your network of pages so that the advertisers will pay you. We learned the basics of shortening a link or file address. Such link shortening could be used for files and entire pages, and for images. A single dot slash to send the user to reference items in the same folder, 2 dots and a slash to reference items in different folders, as well as the relevant different folders. And then we learned how to create images on our page by referencing images which are in other places. And again, with images, the 1 dot slash should the image be in the same folder, 2 dot slash for a different folder. And remember, the images do not live in the HTML file, merely the reference to where they are. So that was a lot of work. Thank you for sticking with it. Next steps, we'll use images as links. We'll style images, and we'll do a lot more. You're getting pretty far along in HTML design. You can construct any number of pages now and link between them, and create a whole network of pages, which will allow you to have different pages with different information. Style is pretty basic for now, but you'll notice if you as you load your page and then link over to your other page, it loads immediately because HTML is very small. It takes a very small amount of space. That's one of the beauties of it. And so stick with it. Here's a link to the next lesson, And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If I don't answer them, someone else will. Have a good night.